2 minutes. I hope I'm allowed to sit while I prepare my thing. So my quote is, "You never plow by a field by turning it over in your mind." It's an Irish proverb. I have my chair here. 11:30. Alright, my preparation is now over and I will now momentarily begin. Imagine if there was a large field of untilled farmland, completely untouched, and we have just magically expected it out of nowhere to grow an immense yield of crop. That would be completely ludicrous and silly. Very similarly, the mental plowing in our heads of an untilled, unharvested farm, figuratively, is seemingly productive, but doesn't actually result in anything happening. And this is very similar to the wise Irish proverb of, quote, "You never plow a field by turning it over in your head." This proverb articulates the importance of action over contemplation. This proverb articulates the importance of good deeds and not good thoughts. Thinking alone doesn't generate results, and it is imperative to take tangible action, to work diligently in order to achieve your goals. I think this quote is absolutely correct, as real progress again comes from deeds and not thoughts. Let me explain further. Consider the Industrial Revolution, where thinkers envisioned of a bold future that was far more technologicalized than it was previously. Let's use the Wright brothers as an example. The Wright brothers used to see birds fly in the air, and they also wished to see humans fly in the air as well. In turn, they spent years, 9 years in fact, and they had dozens of failures, but eventually they were able to very successfully create the first airplane that they were later able to commercialize and completely revolutionized the way that humans travel throughout the world. Had the Wright brothers not conducted action, and instead had they just sat there and not done anything, there would have possibly been no airplane, and the world could have been far more backwards. But instead they took the leap of faith, and they had the courage to believe in themselves, and they had the audacity to execute, and consequently we as a civilization and humanity reaped the benefits. Let's move to the civil rights movement, where we see the actions of people challenging systematic discrimination, which then resulted in the upliftment of society. Let's use Rosa Parks as an example. There was once a time period in which African Americans could unfortunately not sit at the front or middle of a bus, but only towards the complete back. We now have to consider that Rosa Parks one day had enough about thinking about it and decided to protest this decision. As a result of protesting this decision, her protest resulted in nationwide protests, which then eventually resulted in this law and this practice becoming outlawed, and this furthered the civil rights movement as more people became infatuated with the idea of progress and equality. Imagine had Rosa Parks just done nothing and sat on the back of the bus and had not protested. There could be a very terrible future in which minorities could not have had the full rights that they deserved. This historical example showcases the reality alongside with the industrial revolution of what happens when people act and when they do not simply just sit around thinking. Whether it's technological advancement or societal reforms, turning thoughts into actions propels transformative action. Now consider the scientific realm where Galileo went against the entirety of the Catholic Church and challenged the preconceived notions of European society that the Earth was the center of the solar system. Instead, he came around and very boldly proclaimed it was the sun that was actually the middle of the solar system and the center of the solar system, and he was absolutely phenomenally correct. Had Galileo not made the effort to create the telescope and to prove his model using mathematics and science and other forms of data, we could possibly be living in a world in which all scientific progress or ideas are downstream of religious authority, which could have likely been incorrect. In summary, the Irish proverb implores you to turn thoughts into action, as history has shown us with the famous Industrial Revolution, the Civil Rights Movement, and scientific progress. Progress plows the fields. Action plows the fields of progress. Remind yourself of the untilled fields in your mind and make a diligent and committed effort in order to turn the fields into progress. Thank you.